The HomePod turned 1 year old last month, so it's time to share the best and the worst parts about it. I also have a Google Home, so I'll share how the two have performed against each other and make my recommendations on that as well. Hey Siri, does that sound like fun? Oh, the irony. Hey everyone, Lucas Acosta with Fuji here. As always with all of our videos, all the links we talk about will be included in the description below. If you have questions about the HomePod or any other products we talk about, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer. The HomePod was a long rumored competitor to the Amazon Echo and the Google Home products that would essentially let you ask it questions or have it do home automation actions for you or just play some music. So how does it stack up to the others, and what job can it actually do for you? So what did Apple nail with the HomePod? First is sound quality. In a lot of ways, it starts and stops there. You know, for $349, you are getting the clarity, the bass response, and the overall room-filling sound as a lot of $700 plus speakers out there. Next is the sensitivity of the microphones. I can calmly ask Siri a question, and I am shocked by how many times it's able to pick me up. As a comparison, the Google Home Mini that we have, we're usually having to yell at it just to make sure that it hears us. Not so with a HomePod. And what I'll do is ask the exact same question to the HomePod, same volume, and 9 times out of 10, it can hear me from the other room. Now, if it can understand what I'm trying to say, or if Siri is capable of answering the question, it's a different story. But in terms of whether or not it can hear me, regardless of what we're actually listening to, is impressive. Next, it's more reliable to use the Hey Siri command on my HomePod than it is on, say, the iPhone or the iPad. That's probably because it has 7 different microphones surrounding the entire HomePod. So yes, it does work on my iPhone, but I'm having to speak louder. With AirPlay 2, they nailed the dual HomePod setup. I don't have this at my house, but I have listened to it, and what you can do is pair 2 HomePods next to each other to create a stereo setup, and that sounds fantastic. Now, you are paying for that sound because you're buying 2 HomePods, but if you love the design and you love the Siri capabilities, then you're gonna pay it. Apple also nailed the setup of the HomePod. It couldn't be easier. It works just like setting up new AirPods. You just place your iPhone next to the HomePod and it prompts you to go ahead and begin the setup process. Lastly, for what Siri can do, it does really, really well. For example, I love using my HomePod to ping my iPhone or iPad if I've misplaced it. It'll also work to ping any other family member's devices for that matter. And the Maps capability, for example, you can ask Siri to tell you how long it'll take to get to a friend's house or a nearby business. Which brings me to my next point, which is where Apple is lacking with the HomePod. The first one has got to be Siri. Now, I don't think it'll be a miracle to make Siri better, and in fact, I'm gonna tell you why we can hope for improvements with Siri later, hopefully this year. But what it boils down to is Siri doesn't have that great of a search mechanism. With Google Home, for example, you basically have a Google search that you can talk to. So for what might seem like silly things, you can ask your Google Home to make certain animal noises, which my toddler loves to do. Or have the Google Home tell you some recipe ideas and even read out what ingredients that recipe might have. So again, anything you can search for, you can ask your Google Home, which is pretty cool. While the quality of Siri is good and the speed of it interpreting your language, you can use Siri to text people or, add something to your reminders list. The extensibility of it isn't quite as strong as Google's or Amazon's. Now, I know Apple came out with Siri shortcuts late last year, and I might offend some people, but I don't think shortcuts has really hit it with the masses yet. I don't think Apple's done a good job of making a clear value proposition as to what problems this can solve. I know, many of you watching this video might really rely on Siri shortcuts, but if you think about it, when it comes to your friends and family, how many of them even have the app or know when the last time they opened the app. So I'm hoping Apple can make these more discoverable because at this stage, even if they know about the app, you need to have a pretty technical mind to build those Siri shortcuts. All right, next, in case you're wondering, HomePod does not make a good travel companion. I was really hoping for this when I took it to a hotel a few months ago, and I ended up having to do this complex setup where I had to connect my iPhone to someone else's personal hotspot. I eventually got it to work, but I really hope we could get a Bluetooth like backup capability here, because I'm telling you now, no non-techie person would be able to take this to a hotel and configure it. Okay, last quick note is the silicone bottom on this HomePod. Reports started coming out pretty quickly after it came out that it'll actually leave white rings on wood surfaces. This apparently works with other products with silicone like foot pads, including some of the Sonos products, but still, it doesn't look good when your brand new Apple speaker is ruining, what could be a really nice table or shelf or credenza. Apple has answered these complaints by saying that this is a natural phenomenon, apparently, with silicone and wood. What happens is it actually diffuses the oil in the wood. And they have a KB article that I'll list below on how to remove that and how to avoid that from happening. Now, what I did to protect my credenza is I got not one, but 2 manila folders and cut a circle to make some homemade coasters. And after about a year, it looks to be working really well. Now for what I hope to see in 2019 from this product. Honestly, even with this amazing sound quality, it's hard to recommend to friends and family because of the price. A lot of people out there are satisfied with speakers that are $100. And so I would really like to see a speaker come out at the sub $100 level, and I think Apple could really start to get people not just to buy one, but in cases like myself, to have one in every room. Right now at $349, it's hard to justify having 5 of these spread out around the house. I also hope to see improvements with Siri, and I think we actually have a good chance of this happening because Apple recently hired a senior vice president of machine learning and AI from the former head of machine learning and search at Google. So that's not without some context. I think we could begin seeing some rapid improvements with Siri, hopefully by this year, if not definitely by next year. Okay, so do I recommend it, and is now a good time to buy it? What I do is look at Apple's past. Apple is actually, for as innovative as they are a company of habits when it comes to product launches and time release schedules and pricing and how they treat new products. And based on the history, I think we should look at the HomePod like the Apple TV. I don't think this HomePod is going to get any cheaper, and I don't think this feature set is gonna change much at all. If they make any changes in the product lineup, I think it's gonna be new products to do new things, whether it's a small one at the $100 price level, or maybe one for your TV, that would be awesome. But if you have a use case for the HomePod right now, I think this product in this form at this price point will probably stay for a very long time. So would I recommend it? Yes. I would love to buy many more of these, but I'm gonna wait and see if the prices can come down before I just start putting them all over the house. And in terms of whether or not to buy it now, you have to look at what the product is capable of doing right now. And honestly, Apple can't improve this all that much because it's so great, right? Like, how long does a speaker last? My grandpa has speakers that are 40 years old and still sound as good as the day he got them. And so you really don't need to change this whatsoever except for Siri. And that is 100% software based. So if we're gonna see any improvements on Siri, that can be done over the air. And I'm basing that off of Apple's history with all of their other products. So let's see where Apple takes the HomePod product lineup in 2019. As for this one, if you are an Apple Music subscriber and you've got an iPhone, an iPad, and a Mac and wanna listen to music through it and maybe control some Siri shortcuts and other home automation, I say get it. It's still a fantastic product and I use it every single day. Do you have a HomePod? If you do, let me know your favorite thing about it. And if you don't, let me know why. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. We are coming out with episodes every single week as we are on a constant pursuit of bringing you the best tools and techniques that we encounter in the field. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.